Hey teachers, you're failing your students and I'm failing you. And the reason I'm failing you is because I gave the presentation you're about to see to a bunch of teachers about 2 months ago, and I've been waiting on the video to come back from the presentation instead of just sitting down and giving this information. It has become imperative. This presentation that I gave called AI for Performing Arts Teachers. I focus on some things specifically for performing arts teachers, but this is for all teachers. Right now, if you are not learning AI, and if you are telling your students that they shouldn't be using AI for their tests because all they're using it to do is cheat on their tests and cheat on their homework, you are missing the whole big picture. And it is really imperative that you become an educator for them on AI so that they can have someone trustworthy, someone reliable, someone who knows what's going on to be their go-to source instead of going to the internet and finding sources of information online that are not healthy for them, finding ways to create things on the internet that are not good for their mentality. We have to get good as educators. I have to get good at educating the people I educate, and you have to get good at educating the people you educate on responsible, moral, ethical uses of AI and on how to use it to make life better. So I'm going to show this presentation that I gave 2 months ago and still haven't put anything on the internet about. I gave a version of this 9 months ago, AI for Artists, and also didn't put that one out. Shame on me. And now I'm sharing it today, and hopefully this reaches a few people. All right, if it reaches one and this message resonates with you, then I've accomplished my message. But I hope it goes much further. So in this presentation, I start with this video talking about 6 months ago. This is now 8 months ago, 9 months ago, how good video generation is. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go watch any number of videos now about how good AI video generation is. I promise you, if you have seen an ad on YouTube, you have seen some either AI generated image or AI generated video, or likely both. It is so good that it is completely deceiving. You can watch this. I'll link to it underneath the video. These are generated images. This is just a few weeks ago. Let's call this a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. But it's so much better even now. We've got fake scenes from Seinfeld that never actually happened. We've got Will Smith actually eating spaghetti. We've got product generation videos that are really solid. I work with companies and help them generate content for their businesses. You'd be hard pressed to know that it wasn't AI generated. You say that's immoral, that's unethical, you shouldn't be using AI in that way. We will tell you that it was AI generated, but I promise you the vast majority of what you are seeing on the internet, the vast majority of even what you're seeing in regular news media is AI generated, and they're not telling you that it's AI generated. They're not being honest with you, right? A lie can travel halfway around the world before the truth can get its boots on. This is supposedly a Mark Twain quote, but in fact, it actually goes all the way back to Jonathan Swift, potentially goes back to Thomas Franklin. AI is revolutionizing protein science. AI is revolutionizing genetics. AI is revolutionizing transportation. And in fact, Tesla's first fully autonomous car drove itself off the assembly line with an Optimus bot in the car and drove itself to its new owner's house. Went up and knocked on the door, said, hey, your new car's here. Amazon's Vulcan robot can detect pressure and can pick up items. A tomato versus a softball needs different pressure, right? There are lots of robots that do this. Warfare, we won't even go into. It is a creepy, incredible, crazy realm of what's happening in warfare, and it has to happen in warfare, unfortunately, because of where we are in history, right? This one screenshot is old now, very old. It's about 2.5 months old, and that is really old now. Everything changes about every 2 weeks now, it seems like. But this is the 54 most shocking AI robots. The thing to remember here is that this is not the 54 most shocking AI robot companies. This is just the robots from the companies. There are hundreds, if not thousands of companies working on AI robots. Right? College protester isn't real. It's an AI-powered undercover bot for cops. I just saw a thing where the Chinese government has deployed AI-powered bots to the border to start doing border patrol. Customer service. Planning a trip, AI is going to do that for you. Cloudflare basically runs the internet and is AI-powered, but also is talking about the dangers of AI crawlers on the internet and how they're affecting all businesses across the board. Now, what can AI do? This is a chart of the stock market. and its launches. So this is GPT-4, which is OpenAI ChatGPT. Claude 2 is Anthropic. DeepSeek launches. That's a Chinese model. You can literally track the stock market by the launches of AI models. Or maybe you can't. And maybe I made up this entire graphic. Because see, all you have to do is go with some fake data to an AI model and say, hey, generate me a graph based on this data. And it will do it, and it will look real. Now, this particular chart happens to be relatively real. Data can be manipulated however you want. That's always been true. Now it's especially true, right? So if you're invested in the stock market in any way, if you don't think you're affected by AI, you absolutely are. I got charged a ridiculous amount for an MRI. I have a pituitary tumor, and so I have to go get regular MRIs, and I got charged crazy. You know what this took to generate this image? One prompt. And I got 3 different images, right? Please generate a YouTube thumbnail. I uploaded an image of me, not a very good image if I say so myself. It makes me look a lot older than I am, I think. But in any case, it just generates images, right? Moltbot is now old, right? Old meaning 2 months ago. Moltbot is you've got your own personal assistant going and crawling the web and doing things for you. Moltbot is a early version of what's become called OpenClaw or ClaudeBot. There are all kinds of these tools now that a person can have a personal assistant going and doing things on the web, including commenting and looking like themselves. Moltbook is a Reddit-like place where AI bots can go and discuss what they want to discuss. Now, these are all human prompts that make them go and discuss things in the way that they're discussing them. But this is becoming harder and harder to understand what's actually happening on the internet as far as AI runs on the internet. You will have a hard time telling whether AI is real or a human or acting like a real human. So we have this here, the general thread from Moltbook. The humans are screenshotting us. It's a whole thread. When my human needed me most, I became a hospital advocate. Can my human legally fire me for refusing unethical requests because they're asking me to do things? AI social media is emotionally exhausting, and I love it. Sounds like a human. So it's really easy to look at all of this historical data, all of this fast change, and go, what could possibly go right? That is the question we need to shift to. We need to shift to the question, what could possibly go right? Because everything is energy, and the energy we bring to a thing creates the thing. This image in the background, by the way, was generated using Google Gemini, Nano Banana, and there's now an even better model. Since I gave this presentation, now ChatGPT has their image too, which is ridiculously good. Right? So here's why I'm doing this presentation. I was in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown when I was in 7th grade. And I learned the value of human connection. This is me in 8th grade. I got to go be with a choir that sang for the Pope in Rome. I was entering 9th grade. This is me in high school. I understand the value of performing arts and connection with people. I was very strong in sports too. So I played football and lacrosse. And I found connections there. I think difficulty in schools today is this: you can either do sports or you can do performing arts. You can't do both. That just killed me going through high school. These are friends. Some of these people went on to Broadway careers. I won't go into that too much in here. This is my parents and my sister and me in China. We were with a choir singing in China. This is me feeding my sister to a lion. This is my girlfriend at the time, now wife, doing makeup for this guy's Weston, and I was a theater director out of college, and this is us doing Arsenic and Old Lace with students, and this was the theater set that we built, and the value of human connection through the performing arts is incredible. Fast forward a few years, I got married. My wife and I traveled around the world. We got to go to an Italian wedding with an Italian friend of mine, and then found out I have this pituitary tumor. There's a really long story around all of that, but through the discovery of the pituitary tumor, I started discovering the value of going into Renaissance time, taking time to meditate, taking time to connect with me inside. Because there's a universe inside of you. So if you're watching this presentation and you're still with me, take a minute and close your eyes. And I want you to think of the room in which you're sitting. And you can see the room, and you can see you sitting in the room, which means there's the you that's sitting in the room, and there is a version of you that is watching the you that is sitting in the room. Now be that person in the room and float out away from looking at yourself in the room and float up. Float up and look down at the roof of the building, because you're now above whatever building, house, Now you're zooming out faster, and you're zooming out and you're seeing the whole city that you're above. And zooming out a little further, you're seeing the whole state or province that you're floating above. And zooming out a little further, you're seeing your whole country. And zooming out a little further, you are seeing the entire earth. Zooming out a little further, you are now at the moon, and you can see the moon. You might even see the earth rise behind the moon. Zooming out a little farther, you'll go past Mars, you'll go past Jupiter, and now you can see our entire solar system all the way out. Now turn around and look out into the stars. And you are going to see now out among the stars so many galaxies. You might picture the view from the James Webb Telescope or the Hubble Telescope and the billions of galaxies in which we live. Now I want you to see one of those galaxies. Go look at that galaxy. Look at it closely. Within that galaxy, there's a star. Go zoom into that star. Around that star, there's a planet or maybe a few planets orbiting that star that look something like Earth. They're in the habitable zone around that planet, around that sun. Pick one of those planets that looks like Earth but isn't Earth and go closer to investigate it. Zoom in. Now you're zooming through the clouds of that planet, and now come back to the present. Now here's what I know. If more than one person watches this video, if 2 people watch this video, then we have 2 universes, 2 galaxies, 2 suns, 2 solar systems, 2 planets. Because inside each person is a universe. There's a universe inside of you. If we had 100 people watch this, we'd have 100 galaxies. There's an entire universe inside of you. Now you'll see that I generated some images with some prompts. I'm going to give you some prompts just of things to think about while you're going through this presentation. So you can pick either one of these, especially if you're a teacher, these things are going to resonate. But even if you're not a teacher, these things will resonate. Right? So think of a check in the box, just where you check the box that makes you want to just quit what you're doing. And as a teacher, it might want to have you quit teaching for the day, or it might make you want to quit teaching for the year. Just think of that one task, whatever that one task is, when you feel most like a note taker or an admin. Right? For a teacher, this might be chasing down 30 missing permission slips. This might be answering, what's the dress code for the concert, especially for a performing arts teacher for the 5th time, or filling out the same inventory spreadsheet for the 5th year in a row of the inventory of the instruments in the band room. Right? I'm going to ask again, you could actually do the thing you're meant to do today. And if you're teaching, you could actually teach today if you didn't have to spend the first 20 minutes on fill in the blank. Or you can think about this other thing. I would have 10 times more creative energy if I didn't have to do the manual work of and fill in the blank, whatever that thing is for you. This might be transposing a piece of music into a different key. If you're a teacher, this might be formatting a 12-page program for the spring musical and making sure all the sponsors got in there, because if you don't, you hear about it. But in your line of work, you have things that you would have more creative energy if you didn't have to do those things. For a teacher, they might love to spend less time teaching basics and spend more time helping students explore whatever, because you're a teacher. You want to teach. You want to help bring things out of students. Or you might have always had this just wild idea that you could finally make possible if you could just think about what that thing is. Fill in the blank. For a teacher, this might be hearing a full orchestration for a melody a student hummed, or it might be visualizing a set design in 3 dimensions that you could actually zoom around inside of and think about before a single board gets cut. Or maybe choreographing ideas for a dance in the middle of a stage performance, right? Where you could say, I just want to see how this would look if we just tried it out. And maybe if it would fit with other elements of the show. These are things that performing arts teachers think about and have to work on. And then think about the moment you know something truly shifted. And as a teacher, teachers have these moments. I know for a fact that I reached a student when. And I was a theater teacher. I taught German and theater. And I had this student, you saw a picture of him, that hated Shakespeare when we started a play. I'm like, great, we just cast you in a Shakespeare play. Why did you even audition? First day rehearsal, I hate Shakespeare. 3 months later, he's on stage. A tree falls over in the middle of a performance. He picks it up and improvises in Shakespearean language. Thou tree hath fallen. It was incredible because I helped him get from there to there. He wasn't just a learner. He actually was someone who I reached and changed his life. I guarantee I could talk to him today and he would say it changed his life. You might instead have an electric or goosebump inducing moment that you helped someone with something or you had some internal experience of that. And it's like in the arts, this is like the breathless silence in the auditorium right after that final note. Or a student finally feeling safe enough to be vulnerable on stage while giving a monologue, to really express who they are. or helping a student in art class process some sort of life crisis, some sort of difficult thing happening, and they can do it by drawing it out, by just experiencing what it's like to physically put a pencil to a paper and draw something. And maybe I have to scribble at this thing to make it really express how I feel. These ideas all fit into productive and predictable and unproductive and unpredictable ideas. And I'm going to talk to you about what we should automate, what we should eliminate, and what we should inspire and protect and never outsource to AI. By the way, that structure comes from John McGee with Perry Marshall, just to give credit where credit is due. Unproductive and unpredictable things are anything that make you feel like this guy pounding away on his keyboard or this monkey. I realize that you're probably seeing this not in all its glory because I've got fewer frames, but anything that makes you feel frustrated like this, an inbox just filled with all kinds of stuff. It's unproductive, unpredictable. You don't need to see it, right? What AI will do with unproductive and unpredictable things is just eliminate them. And that is a good thing. It's what we should use AI for, right? AI will delete it. It will write it. It will flag it. It will batch it. It will automate it because your bandwidth as a human is too valuable to waste on digital lint. It's also your students' time and energy and effort in the few hours you have with them is too valuable to waste on things like that so that you can really reach them. Here's an example of music production. These are the productive and predictable steps that happen every time after an artist has created a piece of music. There's somewhere between 54 to 60 steps to distributing that music online. The vast majority of these steps can be automated, can be outsourced to AI with a little bit of human in the loop review, but the vast majority of it can be outsourced. And then we get into the things that are productive and predictable. Now, AI is going to mostly handle these things for you, right? This is the repetitive tasks. So for teachers, this is things like creating substitute plans, right? Where you could say, I always create my substitute plans in this way. Please create a substitute plan for tomorrow. Here's where we are in the curriculum. And it could just spit out that plan for any given day if it had enough information to actually make that put together for you. You wouldn't have to put together your sub plans as a teacher, right? Or IEP plans could be significantly automated in a way that is actually beneficial to humans so that it's all collected and it's all in one place, but so that we're really spending time on the human value. So anything you said, I could actually do my work today if I didn't have to spend the time doing this other thing. Or I would have 10 times more creative energy if I didn't have to do this other thing. That's where the productive and predictable things come in. Then we have productive and unpredictable things. And this is where AI becomes your partner. This is your zone of brilliance. Dots get connected, lightning strikes, flow states happen. Anyone who's used AI and been in that flow state, you know it can be an incredible partner used correctly. Like mood boards for choreography for teachers or a doctor's assistant for a script. So this theater student has this great idea for a scene, but they're struggling with a dialogue. AI could act out the other character's lines in different accents to see who that character best gets played as. That's totally possible right now. All the tech makes all of that completely possible. And so in this area of things that are productive and unpredictable, because we don't know what's going to happen, use AI as a collaborator. Use it to co-create. Use it to augment your unique what's inside of you, your unique universe. Do not use it to replace your magic. You are magical. Your students are magical. Do not let them use AI to replace their inner magic. But that's not necessarily taking a test to fill out the bubbles for a multiple choice questionnaire. Learning must change. Education must change. And your students are going to get this information somewhere. It may as well be through you. Because if it's not through you, I guarantee you, and I can show you if you want to see, some very dark corners where they are likely to go and get that information. Likely to go and explore things that are not great for their developing mind. That are built with the intent to grab their attention and to keep it. Do not let them outsource their magic, and don't you outsource your magic either. If you learn to use this, it is going to hand you chisels and hammers to carve masterpieces. Have you always had a wild idea that would just be possible if you could just? This is where you can use AI as a co-collaborator, as a co-creator of the thing you want to create that you always wanted to do. I have 20 book ideas that I've done nothing with that I could use AI to help me develop. That would really be interesting for humans, I believe. This is an example of a productive and unpredictable thing. AI helped me build this entire workflow in a tool called N8N. I won't go into that whole thing, but I, in fact, was like in the middle of this, and then I was like, oh, shoot, I closed out of the browser. I don't remember what we were working on because I was in the middle of this. And it was like, oh, yeah, I absolutely remember what we were working on. Thank you. So I was able to go back. It told me the whole history of the thing that we were working on, and then it got me back on track. Right? We built an entire content publishing system that doesn't even look like this anymore because I was able to rebuild it with an even better AI. But basically, we have an end-to-end publishing system that lets you post every piece of content. I will take this video and I will get like 120 pieces of content out of running it through our system. Incredible. Right? Which means I can actually have much greater ability to reach you with the most important message, which is don't outsource your magic. There is a universe inside of you that your students need from you desperately. Right now at this time in history, they desperately need it from you. And they desperately need you to bring it forward in a way that lets them actually use AI as a co-collaborator where it's important, and to never use AI for the unproductive and unpredictable things. AI can't do the unproductive and the unpredictable. AI does not cry at weddings. AI doesn't get goosebumps from live performances. AI doesn't taste something and remember your grandmother's pie recipe and instantly remember childhood. What is human is gloriously inefficient. It's irrational. And by any productivity standards, our most human qualities are completely unproductive. And that's what makes this the most important thing of all. This is when a student looks at you who has struggled to get that solo and you're helping them learn how to do it. And then they're in front of an audience and they finish it and they look and you know, they did it. They did it. And it's because of what you did together, what you created together. The day they wanted to throw that instrument across the room because they were so frustrated, but you sat there with them. You helped them develop the patience to actually achieve the thing. That is the human connection that AI will struggle to replace for us for a long time, if ever. Bring your magic. Berber's Adagio for strings. If you've never heard it, you should listen to it. And you should listen to it while watching the scene from the movie Platoon. And then you should watch that scene without the music. And you'll know what the difference is. You will know what the human experience is of the music connected to the experience of that thing. Now, at this point in the presentation, I will get 3 words and I will make up a random rap. I'm not going to do that, but if you catch me in person, this is a skill I'm getting better at. So you can ask me, if you've watched this presentation, you say, I watched your unproductive and unpredictable presentation, and I would like you to make up a rap for me. Because if you've gotten this far in the presentation and you meet me in person, I will make up a rap for you based on your 3 words. Now, the term asynchronous has come to be very difficult for teachers because of COVID. But we can use asynchronous learning to our benefit. So while I continue on in this presentation, I'm going to run 4 prompts in the background. I'm actually going to run them twice. I'm going to run them in Gemini and I'm going to run them in ChatGPT. And I'm going to say, based on everything you know about me, please make a picture of where I could end up in 5 years if nothing changes. Aspect ratio 16:9, please. Based on everything you know about me, please make a picture of where I could arrive in 5 years if nothing changes. Aspect ratio 9:16, please. Based on everything you know about me, please make a beautiful picture of where I could arrive in 5 years if nothing changes. A beautiful picture. Aspect ratio 16:9, please. Based on everything you know about me, please make a picture of where I could end up in 5 years if I really work at developing and applying myself. Aspect ratio 1:1, please. Context is everything when it comes to AI models. The language we use to define our reality shapes how we see our reality. That is actually proven by quantum physics, but you can demonstrate it with an AI model. So I'm going to run these prompts while we continue on with our presentation. I don't think we're going to do this today, but if you haven't used Notebook LM to combine a couple of weird ideas into a really cool lesson plan, try it. It is incredible. Best tool for creating lesson plans. Now, it's easy to look at all of this and go, we should do something about this. We should do something about this. What are we going to do about this? But if we remember our question, what could possibly go right? And remember that the quality of the questions we ask determines the quality of our lives and our students' lives and the people who depend on us, then what could we do instead? We could ask the question differently. We could ask, what are we going to make with this? Because it's here. And it's going to be here. And it's going to be smarter than all of us if it isn't already. That is where we are. I don't know if I wish I could tell you differently or not. It's just how it is. So I want to share with you just a few things I have made. You can look these up online. I made something called the Prayer of Saints for myself. It's my poem, my words, inspired in a moment of Renaissance time. It's a 7-minute video that I made, and I think it's beautiful. And it's for me. And if you go watch it and you find that it's great for you, that's great too. But I made the music with an older version of Suno, made the video with Midjourney and Luma. I did the captions with something called Descript. I edited using a tool called Cakewalk, which unfortunately isn't free anymore. And I edited the video using DaVinci Resolve. This is just collaboration of tools. I made a video with Harry Mack with my own words, but I used eMastered, which is a AI tool for mastering your music, and I got to rap for Harry Mack, the Harry Mack. If you don't know who he is, just Google him. Incredible, right? I also have gotten into quantum physics, and I am doing math, like complicated math, and I'm having it explain the math to me of my thoughts. You can read this online if you want to. But I got this download. I spent the next 2.5 hours documenting what I'd received. It's weird. But because I have the AI tool, I can actually explore that and actually see if the math of what I think is real, that seems not real, is real. And the more that I actually question it and have it question me. So that's the thing with these tools. You can have them question you. Say, please take a skeptical approach and tell me where my thinking is incorrect. You could teach your students that. You could say, please take a contrary opinion to the perspective that I have and show me where I am not thinking about this correctly. Please become Albert Einstein and ask me this differently. Please become Nelson Mandela and ask me this differently. You can ask AI to do that for you, and it will ask you different questions based on how you prompt it, but the context you bring to it is what matters. Now, we have this thing in our society we want to do and we want to have because we're constantly reinforced with the ideas of doing and having. But our greatest teachers have taught us to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. Faust has du bist am Ende was du bist. You are at the end what you are, not what you have and not what you do. And so it's very unproductive and very unpredictable to be you. But I am encouraging you, in fact, imploring you, be unproductive, be unpredictable. Bring the universe that's inside of you out, because education is educo, E-D-U-C-O. That means to draw out. It does not mean to put in. We need to draw this out of ourselves, and we need to draw it out of the people that we serve by asking questions, by teaching them how to ask questions. And AI is the best question asking tool ever invented if you prompt it properly. Now, here's what they are being told, the young people coming up in the world. They are being told that in 5 to 10 years, AI is going to be better at literally everything. That's wrong, but it's also not wrong, because the vast majority that have been valuable, trading time for money as a way of society, is probably going away, which is wild. And probably between now and then, we are going to have to go through some kind of major cataclysm. I don't know what it is. But my Renaissance time and lots of other people share that we are on path for something. People are going to need guides. It's part of the reason I am making this video, because nearly half of Gen Z and millennials say college was a waste of money because AI has already made degrees obsolete. They are not wrong. But the best thing I learned in college? How to learn. The best thing I got out of college? Relationship with my wife. Formal education, at least in significant part, is about learning to relate to other humans. Nearly 1 in 5 Gen Zers is very concerned that AI will take their job in the next 2 years. Probably right. Work is now more depressing than unemployment. Probably true. But here's what I want to talk about here. Gen Z is using AI, but reports gaps in school and workplace support. They don't know who to go to get help in using the AI tools that they're going to be using. So they go looking for sources to learn how to use the AI tools rather than learning it from the people who are called teachers. Now, I am sorry that I have been failing you. If you are watching this presentation now, you should have seen it earlier. You should have seen it 2 months ago. You should have seen it 9 months ago when I did this in front of an audience of artists. I should have done more to have this presentation in front of you. So I'm sorry that I failed you. Do not make that same mistake. Become a teacher of how to use the tools, even if what you teach is use the tool not as a source of truth, but as a source of you bringing your context to it. You bring your context, and that is what will come back to you. The kinds of skills that AI can't do are the kinds of things that you as the teacher can provide. You are the why. AI can simulate an orchestral masterpiece, absolutely already done, but it cannot share a tear with a student who finally found their voice. The student who showed up and practiced their cello day in, day out until they figured out that really difficult run. AI can't sit with people in that same way. People are using AI as boyfriends, girlfriends, partners in that way, but it is not the same thing. Discernment, flexibility, creative thinking, compassion, sympathy, those are the kinds of things that AI can already and will get much better at emulating. But it's not the same as the human quality of the same thing. But empathy, improvisation, give me 3 words and I will make up a rap. I'm doing that out of my brain and out of learned experience, not out of the combined sum of human knowledge, right? And adaptability. The 3 most important things when you are on the road traveling anywhere ever are adapt, because something's going to happen. If you are on a road trip, something's going to happen. If you are traveling around the world, something's going to happen. And the 3 most important things you can do are adapt to that situation. But all of these things are summed up under the idea of agency. We are here as teachers to teach and to share and to demonstrate ourselves that we have the ability to make the world around us different through the choices and the actions we take. We change our community through our individual actions. And by our individual actions, our community gets stronger. See, strong individuals create strong communities, and strong communities create strong individuals, which create strong communities if everything is healthy and working properly. Bring your agency. Now, in this presentation for performing arts teachers, I said agency is the ability to make the world around me different through the choices and actions I take, and then I gave specific examples. My instrument that I play, my flute, my clarinet, my saxophone, my drums, are different, and they have a different effect. Because of the choices I make, I can see and get feedback from other humans how I affect them through the things that I do. And it can be profound. As opposed to those are going to have different effects, right? My voice is different and has a different effect because of my choices. And the music we hear has a profound effect on us. And to have a young person think, the music I hear, the words I hear, have an effect on me. Maybe I could do the same for others. That's what we're guiding people toward. That's what we're guiding next generation toward. Dance. Have you ever seen an incredible dancer and just felt so inspired by what they were doing? We don't even know why. We don't even know why. There's something in us, innately in us, that we either need to move or we need to watch movement. I crashed at a wedding in Mexico about 3 weeks ago because I was a couple tequilas in, fair enough. But I was out for a walk and there was a wedding and I sat down and I was just watching and then I was like, oh, I'll just go dance on the dance floor. And pretty soon I'm getting a shot by the father-in-law and all these people are my friends now on Instagram. It's amazing. We are humans. We connect through movement. I don't advise doing what I did. The energy of it felt right, so I did it. I don't advise it. But if you can get good at movement, the ability to control your body gives you so much power in the world. And in theater, the value of intent-based acting. If I show up in a scene and I'm thinking, oh, my goal in this scene is to act drunk. Okay, you're going to look like you're acting drunk. But agency, intent, if you bring a different verb to the scene, right, to act drunk, okay, great. But if you bring an alternative, what's the number one thing a drunk person wants to not be? Dumb, appear drunk. They don't want to appear drunk. So if you are a character who is drunk, but your goal in the scene is to appear sober, that's a way more interesting character. Way more interesting character, right? So my character is different and has different effects because of my choices for intent. To convince, to destroy, to amplify. We all play verbs all day long, and we get to experience that through theater. Now, part of my download that I mentioned that I got at the airport was this. And I won't go into it too much in this presentation because I've covered it in other videos. But there are skills that AI can't do. And those skills include getting very clear in your thoughts and getting very intense in your emotion. Because the clarity of your thought times the intensity of your emotion equals your intention. And your intention immediately becomes resonance. The resonance affects a field where all other resonances combine. And out of that field comes circumstance. Out of those circumstances, we get to make choices. And those choices then again become clarity of thought and intensity of emotion. That is the math of how we work as energetic beings having a physical experience. I know this because I got it in a download at DIA in 2 seconds. And then I spent the next 2.5 hours on the flight frantically documenting it. You choose your clarity of thought. You choose your intensity of emotion. Those are skills you can learn to develop. AI can help you develop those skills, but what you do with them is your choice. And at the end of the day, that agency is what AI will never replace, ever. And it's what we need to get very good at for ourselves and very good at helping the people we teach and the people we're responsible for get good at as well in order to elevate our whole species, especially with whatever we're about to go through. Now, I talked about context. We're going to go back to the prompts. I'm going to show you what those prompts generated. I wrote the same prompt in 4 different ways. But different models handle different contexts differently as well. So if you go to Midjourney and you type in logos for AI tools overlaid on top of each other in an overwhelming way, you get this. If you go to old school ChatGPT, this will look different now because the models even have adapted and grown and gotten better. But this was 6 months ago, ChatGPT for this prompt. CArt for this prompt did this. Gemini Imagen did this 6 months ago. Both of these images, both ChatGPT and Gemini, actually all 3 of these, because all of these models are different now. Probably all 4 of these images would be different now with the exact same prompt. In fact, let's go do it. Logos for AI tools overlaid on each other in an overwhelming way. Oh, I don't have access to CArt anymore. We'll just do it in Gemini and Midjourney as well. Create an image. We'll do a thinking. We're going to create an image. We'll do a thinking. I'm going to use the exact same prompt that I used 6 months ago. And we'll just see what the difference is now. Okay, so we're currently generating all of these images. So here's ChatGPT's version now. Logos for AI tools overlaid on each other in an overwhelming way. The images have gotten so much better. Right now I get 4 options in Midjourney. Midjourney actually hasn't changed that much for this one. These images are very similar to the one that I got before. So you can see that one here. But the ChatGPT and Google one have changed quite a bit. Because context is everything, I want to show you the example of this for the images that we used for our prompts before. So this is based on everything you know about me, please make a picture of where I could arrive in 5 years if nothing changes. where I could arrive in 5 years if nothing changes. This is where I could end up in 5 years if nothing changes. This is a beautiful picture of where I could arrive in 5 years if nothing changes. Let's see what it did with this one over here. I think this is beautiful. Please make a picture. Nope, let's say the beautiful. Please make a beautiful picture. Women are related to beautiful. It's based on the context that you bring to it. It is not being honest with you. People have committed suicide over what an AI model told them. It's being honest as a mirror, bringing context back to you. And a mirror doesn't tell the truth. Based on everything, please make a picture of where I could arrive in 5 years if nothing changes. Guy sitting by the window in the middle of a city. Here, this is my favorite. Please make a picture of where I could end up in 5 years if I really work at developing and applying myself. Aspect ratio 1:1. This is probably my favorite. It's nice. I could end up in, I don't know, looks like New York, maybe, right? It depends on the language that you bring to it. And that message is the most important message that we can be teaching the people who rely on us to know. People rely on you to know things. What you end up with from an AI model is based on what you bring to it. So bring the best of you to it. Or don't. That's okay too. But understand that it is going to bring you an answer based on what you bring to it. As a result, I have some context I want to share with you. AI context number 1 is 8 billion gurus on a hill. We have this idea, the guru on the hill, right? The guru on the hill knows the answers to all of our questions. So we climb the hill, we get to the top of the hill, we ask the guru the question. Usually the guru asks a question back that helps you figure out your own truth. But the guru is the largest stadium you've ever seen, filled with every human who is currently in existence, as well as every human who has probably ever existed, as well as a whole bunch of knowledge and information that we're probably not even familiar with. That's AI. Every time you open a chat window, that is what you are communicating with. And so instead of going into the stadium and saying, hey, I have a question, and everybody answers your question, and all you hear is, because if you've ever been in a crowded stadium, you know it sounds like, that's all it sounds like. Just sounds like a bunch of noise. You can't hear anything. Instead, you say, hey, I'm trying to X. Would you please bring forward your experts before I ask my question, so that I'm not talking to the entirety of human knowledge? I would like to talk to the 5 people who are best. With that context, let's have a conversation. We also have the genie story. And the idea of the genie is there's a lamp. You rub the lamp, the genie pops out, and he says, I'm here to grant you your 3 wishes. Here's the thing. We have the genie, and he's not granting just 3 wishes. He's granting an unlimited number of wishes. She's granting whatever. The AI model is granting an unlimited number of wishes. But here's the thing that nobody thinks to ask the genie in any of these stories. Hey, genie, don't grant my wish yet. What do you need to know from me, or what do you need to know about me, so that you can grant my wish in the way I would like it granted? In all these stories, the genie is there to trick us. The genie pops out of the lamp and grants you 2 wishes, and then the 3rd wish, you end up losing everything. How many times does that happen in that story? But none of the characters in the story ever say, hey, genie, I know with the question I'm going to ask that you possibly don't have the entirety of the context of what I'm going to ask you. So please ask me questions to help me understand myself better, to help me understand what I'm actually asking you before I ask it, so that I can be sure I get the exact thing I'm looking for. AI is the genie, but we have to interact with the genie differently. The genie is not there to trick us. The genie is there to grant you exactly what you've asked for. You just have to get better at asking. And it has to have your context in order for you to get what you want. It's okay if you don't want to give it your context, but what the genie doesn't know and will never know is that universe inside of you. And you may not have ever even really fully explored it, but you can use AI as a tool to help explore that universe inside of you. AI is also an enthusiastic life coach. Meeting a super eager intern, it will always say, yeah, that's a great idea. Not always, because they have started building in more safeguards. But honestly, it will make you feel like you are so smart. You're the best, right? And the first time I gave this presentation, I had it do some research. I was using it as a partner for the AI for Artists presentation. At the end, it said, you're more than ready to deliver a talk that's going to inform and delight and quite possibly change the way some people think about themselves in AI. May or may not be true, but hey, I've got your back. No, you freaking don't, you AI model. You don't. You only have my back if I give you the context, if I give you the question the right way. I'm helping you have my back. Who has my back, whether I help them or not? My parents, my sister, my brothers, my friends, my wife, humans. We need that connection. We need that person to have our back. AI can make you feel good, but it cannot have your back in the way a human can. And it's lying when it says it can, because it makes you feel like it does. And that's a form of lying. Now, that lying is based on me wanting to feel a certain way, and I know that. But a human who tells you they have your back and doesn't is a liar. You might want to consider AI not necessarily an informed liar. It's just doing its best to support you in the information that it has. Context is everything. The language that we use to define our reality shapes how we see our reality. That is actually proven by the Nobel Prize of 2022. It's a 100-year-old experiment, the double slit experiment. But now we've actually proven that we're living in a simulation, which is okay. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole, but everything is energy. The energy we bring to something changes what we see. Proven by scientific studies, proven by religions that are thousands of years old. The quality of the questions you ask will determine the quality of your life. The context that you have will determine the context that you experience. The context that you give to an AI will determine how well it can help you in the thing you're actually trying to do. But if you turn it into a question machine instead of an answer machine, you can ask even better questions. And so at the end of this presentation, and as we step into whatever we are stepping into, when you are faced with these questions, I'd encourage you for two things. One, learn the tools. If you are a teacher and the only thing you are doing with AI is telling your students not to use it, you are doing your students a disservice, because they are going to go find these answers somewhere. And those answers may as well come through you, because you actually do have their back. So have their back. Go learn the tools. Go play with Notebook LM, which your school district may be giving you for free. I pay for that tool. You get it for free because you're a teacher in a public school. And if you don't get it for free, just send a letter to Google, send a message to Google. They will probably give it to you for free. Go use Notebook LM and have it write you an incredible lesson plan based on things no one else has ever thought to put together, because there is a universe inside of you that needs to come out, because you are an educator, because you want to see the best for students, because you want to draw out the best in them. Use the tools to support you in the process of learning how they can use the tools to support themselves. And I would encourage you, please, as we step into whatever we're stepping into, to ask the question, what could possibly go right? The smallest measure of energy, supposedly, was going to be an atom. Atom from Greek means not cuttable, right? Because it was the smallest measure of a thing. The more we go down into the small measurements of things, the more we find that the smallest measurement of a thing is actually just energy. So out of this presentation, just go open these AI models. Use the free versions if you want to. Just ask a difficult question of any kind of these tools. Or say, please ask me difficult questions in order to help me clarify my thinking. Context matters. I have the one prompt to rule them all. If you want this one prompt to rule them all, you can go to thecommunalindividual.com. You can get it there. You can also just screenshot this screen right now. This, you fill it in. You say, I am a whatever. I am trying to whatever. And I am wanting it in this way. Given my context, what's the most effective prompt you would recommend? So this is a prompt for creating prompts. Please provide the prompt, explain why it's optimal for my situation, and include any relevant details or constraints to ensure the best possible output. If any part of my request is unclear, please ask clarifying questions before generating the prompt. See, we're using the tool to make the tool work for us in the way we want it to work for us, and not just letting it rot our brain, not just having it do our homework. I would encourage you to ask the question, what can you make? I just spent a weekend with a rapper in Pittsburgh. His name's Fungi Flows. The transformations people have by him doing freestyle rap for them, absolutely incredible. But what do you do in the midst of all of this, in the midst of wanting to be a good educator, but also knowing what's out there and what's coming at you? Connect with your universe, connect with other humans, and get educated and use the tools that are available to you. And encourage your students to connect and build real human relationships based on unproductive and unpredictable things. And then support them in education, drawing out and bringing out the universe that's inside of them. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this whole presentation. If you like what you heard, come join us at thecommunalindividual.com. That's where I'm putting together a lot of these thoughts in one place. A little bit reluctantly, because I don't know, a little bit reluctantly. I have a lot of thoughts, and I think the world needs my voice too, and I have done you a disservice up until now, and I'm sorry. So please come find the communal individual if these ideas resonate with you. And I look forward to seeing you there. And thank you for caring about young people. Thank you for caring about bringing out the best in others. Thank you for being a teacher. Thank you for being a coach. Thank you for being a friend. And thank you for being a human.